Hello everyone, Just Podcast TV is here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified on new contents.
Episode 222, Karen's Gratitude. Zach had no intention of killing the pitiful Karen and Manser in front of him. After all, these two were just a little stupid. Being ordered around like guns, they did not have any major sins. As for the face of the Marquez family, to be honest, even the old fox did not choose to send people to kill them. Why would he do so? It was obvious from the old fox's choice that these two morons' crimes weren't worthy of death, so he wouldn't do anything unnecessary to kill them. However, if he were to just walk away, he really wouldn't be able to do it. Looking at Manser, who looked like a stupid lion, Zach stretched out his hand. Manser thought that his head was going to get beaten up again, so he quickly closed his eyes in fear. But in fact, what fell on his head was just a gentle touch, and there were no other movements. For the sake of you calling me Big Brother when you were little, you followed me around behind my butt. From now on, I'll take care of you two. Zach's words made Karen overjoyed when she heard it. Tears of joy flowed uncontrollably from her eyes. She was very familiar with Zach and Karen. Zach's promise would be fulfilled, and he wouldn't cheat them. Therefore, besides feeling happy, she also felt a little guilty. When Zach went home to prepare for the coming-of-age ceremony, his mother and Karen were ordered around by Michael on the road. They had been targeted at Zach many times, and she felt really bad about it. But at this time, Zach clearly did not care about these things with them. He just said, "But there are some things that need to be discussed in advance. I can take care of your food, clothing, and accommodation. Manser, you should also be more restrained in the future. If you dare to be arrogant and cause trouble again, even your mother will have bad luck." Although Manser was unhappy, he more or less understood some of the reasons at this time. The simplest reason was that not long ago, he could not even eat his fill. Now that he had brother Zach to rely on, at least he could eat his fill and live a stable life. He did not have to run around like the previous half month. Sometimes, he could not even eat. When he took out his phone, Zach called Donovan and asked him to arrange for someone to come over and take Karen and her son away. "I'll arrange a place for you guys to stay first. You don't have to worry about food and clothing. You guys can take care of them for a few days. After I find out about this matter, I'll make new arrangements for you guys. You guys should have a good rest for the next 2 days." Karen was extremely grateful, and she even called Manser to quickly bow to Zach. They should really thank Zach. Zach could totally ignore them and even kill them, but Zach did not. Instead, he helped to take care of them. So Karen was especially grateful. After Karen and Manser left, Zach returned to the car. From the beginning to the end, Kate did not get out of the car. It was not that she was too arrogant and did not want to get out, but she felt that she could not get involved in the matters of the Marquez family. However, she heard it clearly in the car and still could not help but ask, "It's fine if you don't care about this matter, right? I don't have any other intentions. What I'm saying is, since Manser isn't related to you by blood, why do you care about him?" Zach smiled. "At least he called me Brother Zach for a few years. Just like what Karen said. The one who was wrong was Karen. Jasper and Kyle, not Manser. Why should they share the price of their mistake with a child? Besides, I don't need their living expenses. Just treat it as a good deed." Kate pursed her lips and smiled. Her smile seemed more and more charming. "I knew it. My husband is the kindest." 3 days later, Zach found out that Karen's old boyfriend, Jasper, had fallen off a boat and drowned when he went out to sea. It was as if he was joking. He had lost his footing and fell into the water, and his luggage had also fallen into the water. When he was fished out, he was already dead. His suitcase had completely sunk into the bottom of the sea. In any case, This death incident itself was also suspicious. However, Zach didn't need to investigate too much. Most likely, it was Kyle who did it. When Zach found Karen in the hidden hotel arranged by Donovan, he brought up this matter to Karen. Karen felt especially sad. At that time, she could not help but shed tears. Although Jasper lied to her and took away her money, she still thought about the sincere feelings of those years. But after crying, she remembered the situation she and Manser were in right now. While Manser was not around, she came to Zach and took off her clothes with both hands. Karen said, with tears in her eyes, "I beg you, Zach, you are a good man. Please protect us, okay? I know that it is our fault to make thousands of mistakes, but I still want to ask you to protect us. Now that Jasper has been killed by Kyle, he will not let us go, so I beg you." "I can help you. You just need to live a proper life," Zach said. Karen was very grateful. She knelt down with tears in her eyes and wanted to kowtow. At this time, Zach was not helping them. He was saving their lives and not asking for anything in return. How could she not be grateful? After helping Karen up from the ground, Zach continued, "I will change a place for you guys. Manser will eventually have to walk into society, so you can't stay in a hotel all the time." After thinking for a while, Zach said, "How about this? I will arrange a remote mountain village for you. It may be poor or suffer a lot, but you can come out when Manser becomes an adult. That arrogant temper of his should be curbed by the situation. But if you can't take this hardship, I can give you $10 million. You can find a place to live. $10 million is enough for you to live a wealthy life after hiding your identity." Zach gave two choices, but Karen did not hesitate to choose the first one. "I know you are kind. Manser has indeed been spoiled by me. He needs to accept this kind of poor training." Since Karen could see through all of this, Zach was relieved. Episode 223. Such Courage. Finally, Zach sent Karen and Manser to Georgetown. At this time, Georgetown was not particularly poor. After all, Zach had invested so much money, and now the road to leaving the mountain was open. Because of Tessa's previous incident, many people started to pay attention to this place. The leaders of the city also paid special attention to this place. Under the special care of many aspects, Georgetown had undergone a tremendous change. At the very least, the car could be driven directly to the innermost part of the village. After entrusting Karen and Manser to Mayor Dustin, Zach stayed here for half a day and witnessed the changes in the village. It was really getting better and better. Although it was only a few months, the changes in the village were especially huge. Apart from the renovation of all the critical houses, the vitality of the villagers had also improved a lot. They felt that their lives had become more and more prosperous. It was just like what Dustin had said earlier. "We are not afraid of poverty, but we are afraid of not having a rush in life. This year, we will see the 2 acres of land that relies on heaven to eat next year. It's fine now. We've all seen a bright future." With a good start, naturally, there would be motivation. The whole village was full of enthusiasm, wanting to make a fortune and become well off. This sentence was not only painted on the village with red, but it was also shouted out by the hearts of the villagers. Zach liked this lively environment. He believed that in this place full of motivation and positive energy, Manser could also have a good change of view. On the way out of Georgetown, Zach received a call from Director Hamilton. "Director Marquez, the clip has been edited and finished in the later stages. The company has an audition. Do you want to come and take a look?" Zach wanted to go, but after thinking about it, he did not go. He wanted to leave this opportunity to the company. He wanted to watch it at the Golden Award. He drove the car and rushed to Chester's house. At this time, Chester's son and daughter-in-law had already gone overseas. All the furniture in the house was covered with white cloth. Although it was used to block the dust, it was indeed very solemn, especially the black and white photo of Old Man Chester in the middle. Carrying 2 bottles of wine and a brazier full of paper, Zach came to Teacher Chester's home. The brazier was put down, the burning paper was put in, the lighter was lit, and Zach opened 2 bottles of wine. He drank 1 bottle himself and gave 1 to Chester. How nice it would be if you were alive. It's rare to have someone I admire, and he even left. The movie has already been edited. I didn't dare to watch it. I was afraid that the effect wouldn't be good, and I would be letting you down. Chester, if you were still alive, we could find a place to have a drink and have a good chat. It's just that this time, we won't be able to make it to the Golden Award. At least, we still have a next time. Next time. I'll form the best team for you. We'll charge once a year. While drinking, Zach muttered to Chester. Zach really admired this old man from the bottom of his heart. If he was in Chester's shoes, he believed that he wouldn't be like Chester. Whether it was his character or virtue, they were both the best choices. It was really rare, but such a perfect person, a perfect actor, and a perfect artist had actually left early. It had to be said that it was a very regrettable thing. After drinking a bottle of wine and burning a piece of paper with a knife, Zach finished his words and prepared to leave. However, at that moment, a wind suddenly blew and extinguished the last bit of flame in the brazier. Immediately after, the bedroom door creaked open. Zach was shocked. The little bit of wine that he had just drank woke him up. He sighed at the pity that Chester had left, but he could not come back in broad daylight. It was too scary. When he mustered his courage and turned around, he saw Mariah, who had a pair of sleepy eyes, come out of the bedroom. Zach was stunned. "No, why are you here?" Mariah replied, "Chester's son and his wife are overseas. Of course, I have to come and see my master, but I was a little tired just now, so I went to lie down in the bedroom for just a little while. When I heard the muttering outside, I was shocked, so I quickly came out to take a look. Who would have thought that it was you?" Zach was very speechless. As he had said, Chester's son had already gone overseas. Why would he open the window at home? He had been too careless just now, but now he understood that the window was not opened by someone else. It was opened by Mariah. Looking at Mariah, Zach could not help but praise her. "You really are bold." There was no one in the big room except for a black and white photo hanging on the wall. They actually wanted to sleep here, not to mention women. Even normal men did not have the courage. However, Mariah felt that it was nothing. "This is my master, not an outsider. I would not dare to speak to outsiders." Thinking about it, it was indeed the case. It was not necessarily that any family had lost their parents. They did not want their house anymore. The fear of people who were close to them could be greatly reduced. Zach took out a cigarette and lit it up. He calmed himself down from being scared by Mariah just now. Mariah went to the bathroom to solve her personal problem and washed her face. She then came out and said, "You are really thoughtful. Master's still in your heart. You specifically came here to visit him." However, it was obviously not easy to say this out loud, so he did not talk much about this topic. After smoking for a while, he asked Mariah, "Are you going to stay here tonight?" Mariah came out of the bathroom and said awkwardly, I don't have the guts." That was normal. She could only sleep in broad daylight, but she couldn't sleep by the photo at night. That was really bold. After he finished smoking, Zach got up and patted his butt. He called to Mariah, "I'm ready to leave. What about you?" Mariah responded, "I've also finished paying my respects. Let's go together." Episode 224. Danny is here. Soon, it's the end of the year. The streets and alleys are full of busy scenes. Maybe they were buying New Year goods or cleaning up, but the office workers still had to continue working. After all, it was only December 25th. There were still a few days left until New Year's Eve. As a member of the office workers, Zach, the boss, also started to get busy. He didn't need to buy New Year's goods, but the company's employees' year-end welfare was always necessary. So after leaving the company, he drove to the bank. After entering the bank, a bank manager dressed appropriately smiled and greeted Zach. "Hello, sir. What kind of service do you need?" Seeing that the lobby manager was quite pretty, Zach said, "I want to cut my hair." Campbell, the lobby manager, was stunned. She asked awkwardly, "Sir, can you repeat it again? I didn't hear it clearly." Zach replied, "Didn't you ask me what I needed? I said I need to cut my hair. It's the new year, so I need to do a more handsome hairstyle." Campbell could not help but smile bitterly. "I'm sorry, sir. It was my inaccurate description. I mean, do you need to withdraw money, deposit money, or do bank business in other areas?" Her attitude was indeed quite good. Nowadays, the banks all paid attention to smiling services, but there would definitely be no such thing as evaluating the value of clothing. Since she had such a good attitude, Zach did not tease her anymore. "I'll withdraw the money." Campbell nodded. "Okay, sir. If the amount is below $20,000, we suggest that you use an ATM. If it is more than $20,000, please withdraw your number and sit in the rest area and wait for your number to be called." Zach asked, "More than 200,000?" Campbell replied, "If the amount is more than $200,000, according to the bank rules, you must make an appointment 1 day in advance. If you did not make an appointment yesterday, then I can help you make an appointment now, but you will need to come tomorrow to withdraw the money." "Oh," Zach said, then asked, "Does the big client have a cash limit?" Campbell was slightly stunned. She felt that Zach seemed to have deliberately come to cause trouble. He asked so many questions, as if he had come to chat on purpose. However, his professionalism and good professionalism did not make her show any dissatisfaction. She still smiled and replied, "If you are a big client of my company, there is a big client room that specializes in service. You will need to show your bank card." Zach nodded, then took out his bank card and handed it to Campbell. Campbell was shocked. She thought Zach was here to cause trouble, but he actually took out the bank card. After that, she opened the door of the VIP lounge. This proved that Zach was a big customer of the bank. After sending Zach in, Campbell helped pour tea for him and then left the VIP lounge. She felt that Zach should be an accountant of a company or something. He had the company's card, so he could enter the big client room. Of course, there was also the possibility of him being a wealthy heir or trust fund kid, but Campbell felt that it was very unlikely. A trust fund kid should be quite arrogant in her impression. They would not be as polite as Zach. When she poured water, Zach even said that he could pour it himself and that he didn't need to trouble her. With such a polite attitude, Campbell felt that it should be impossible for a second-generation rich kid to have it. Reality also proved that it was really impossible for a normal man to have it. After that, Campbell received another big client. He was as old as Zach, but the LV on his waist, the Armani on his body, and the Hummer H2 that he drove were all very flamboyant. He had the same irritable temperament as its owner. Campbell knew this trust fund kid. It was estimated that not many young people in the city did not know him. The largest chain supermarket in the province, Crystal Supermarket. Danny was the crown prince of this chain supermarket. Rich, arrogant. There was a saying that described him. "You are crazy, but you are more arrogant than Danny." Today, Danny had come. Episode 225. That's right. "I'm robbing a bank. I'm robbing a bank." As soon as he entered the bank, Danny was holding a cigarette in his hand and shouting in the bank hall like a bungee jumper. Everyone in the bank was looking at him. An old lady who had withdrawn her pension pretended to be serious and quickly ran away in fear. Campbell, as the lobby manager, naturally could not allow this kind of thing to happen. She quickly went forward and greeted, "Sir, please pay attention to your words and actions. Your words just now might disrupt the normal public order." Danny pushed down the sunglasses on his face and lowered his head to look at Sun Jin. "Beautiful sister is quite pretty. Why do you always scare people? How did I disrupt the normal public order? Just because I said, I'm going to rob a bank? Does this mean I'm disrupting the normal public order? Beautiful sister, stop messing around. I'm not holding a gun or a knife. Do you believe me just because I say so?" Danny's unreasonable actions made Campbell very angry. Danny even wanted to push his luck. He actually pinched Campbell's chin and wanted to tease her, but he was slapped away by Campbell with one hand. "Sir, please pay attention to your actions." Danny was amused. "Hey, beautiful sister, you smell good. Tisk, tisk, how nice. I like you." The first thing Campbell wanted to do was to give Danny a slap, but the uniform and identity card she was wearing made it so she could not do it. Taking a deep breath, Campbell suppressed her anger towards Danny and warned him for the last time. "Sir, please pay attention to your words. If you speak any more insulting words, I will choose to call the police." This time, Danny was clearly even more excessive. He clenched his fists and raised his middle finger. This kind of insulting action made Campbell completely unable to bear it. This kind of scum should be handed over to the law to punish. Campbell turned around and was about to make a call. Just as she turned around, her butt was fiercely kicked. Her legs were unstable, and she directly laid on the ground. Her lips were even broken by her teeth. She waved her hand, and her fingers were covered with dark red blood. Campbell was extremely angry. She turned around and angrily pointed at Danny. "You are simply lawless!" Danny shook proudly. He even started to perform dance moves in the bank hall. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. One move and one hit. He is so awesome and cool. Damn, I am really too awesome. Oh yeah. It was indeed arrogant. Even Zach was sitting in the VIP room with tea in his hands. Felt that this kid was really arrogant to the extreme. Zach, who was richer than Danny, had been seen by Danny, who was even more hateful than Zach. However, Zach had never seen someone as crazy as Danny, who was so despicable that he could die. However, he still did not move. It was not that he did not have the will to save the damsel in distress, but because he found out that the leader of the bank had come out. The reason why he thought that fellow was the leader was because the hair on that fellow's head was thin and his stomach was very big. Twisting his fat body, the vice president came to Danny. "Oh, little Danny, why are you here?" Danny looked at him. "Which circle did you come from? How come I don't know you, pig? What's your name?" He wasn't polite at all. Even a clay figurine would have a fiery temper. However, it had to be said that the vice president's professionalism was very high. He wasn't angry at all. Not only was he not angry, but he also even said with a flattering smile, "Didn't we see each other at your father's private banquet before?" Danny took out a cigarette and lit it up. Then he sprayed the green smoke on the deputy president's face. "My brain capacity is limited. I can only remember some big shots. I can't remember people like you. Anyway, you look like you're in the circle." What was in the circle was not a circle, but a pigsty. But the vice president's professionalism was really high. He just didn't get angry, but greeted him with a smile. In this aspect, Campbell really could not compare to the vice president. No wonder he could be a leader. At this time, Danny pointed at Campbell, who was sitting on the ground again, then pointed at her with a cigarette and said, "The staff here really made me very angry. As a big client, she actually threatened me. I think it's necessary to stop the business dealings between our supermarket and your bank." After Danny finished speaking, the vice president was anxious. Don't, sir. Look at this mess. Isn't it just a misunderstanding? After flattering Danny, the deputy president quickly walked to Campbell's side. Campbell, why do you still have the face to sit on the floor? You have lost all your face in the bank. Hurry up and get up. Hurry up and apologize to Mr. Danny. Hurry up! Hurry up! Campbell was stunned. She originally thought that the vice president was coming out to settle the matter. She did not expect the bank leader to offend Danny for a small employee like herself, but she never would have thought that the vice president would actually make her apologize to Danny. She felt wronged and unwilling at that time. Why should I? When he entered, he kept saying that he wanted to rob the bank. I advised him not to, and he even used indecent words to attack people. Later, he even kicked me. Now he wants me to apologize to him? Is there such a reason? The other customers in the bank hall could not stand it anymore and all voiced their support for Campbell. That's right. The young lady said it pretty well and very polite. It's what he did when he entered and even wanted to rob the bank. It's indeed quite excessive. That little girl was beaten up. You actually still want people to apologize to that scum? Do you still have eyes? This is simply too detestable. I have never seen such a shameful person. A shameful leader is simply a pair of bastards. It had to be said that the eyes of the masses were bright. They stood on the side of justice. But the problem was that most of the time, the words of the masses were useless. They could not even put up a fighting word or two. It was as if Danny had said something else. It's over. Your bank discriminates against me. I can't work with your bank anymore. With this sentence, the vice president quickly tried to please Campbell and scolded her angrily. Why aren't you getting up and inciting everyone to cause trouble? Have you done enough? Campbell was so angry that she was confused. When did she incite the crowd to cause trouble?